Good evening, afternoon, morning, whatever it is for you. My name is Keith Brooks. This is a sloped live stream. We'd like to welcome you to our broadcast. One of two we're currently doing every week. And Sloped is a platform that is specifically built to service design firms of any stripe in their efforts to onboard SketchUp and Layout. And we are a group of founders who established this company because we needed freelance help in our particular studios. One of us is an architect, one is an interior designer, and I am a millwork and cabinet professional in production and design. And all three of us use SketchUp and Layout full workflows, and it was hard to find people, so we created Slope to find freelance professionals and get them working in our systems and help us produce our projects. And we have been in business now for 2 years, and now our goal is to reach out to the wider professional community, and we're finding that we want to do our best to convince people that Layout is a professional document creation software that is ready for the marketplace, ready for the professional office. And with some education and hopefully some live streams, some videos, some marketing on our part, we'll be able to help you, the user, the design firm that has maybe seen what Layout can do, but you can't figure out how to get that accomplished for yourself. If you're an interior designer and you're looking for solutions that will give you a better set of drawings, or maybe you're a cabinet shop that is tired of the solutions that are provided to you and the drawings that are usually substandard in cabinet making softwares. Maybe you're an architectural design office, and you like the idea, you really love SketchUp, but you haven't yet figured out how to get to Layout for your construction documents. Stay with us, subscribe, click the notification bell, and start hanging out with us. We'd like to hear your questions. Again, Sloped is here to try and help you move down the path to professional onboarding of the SketchUp and Layout workflow. And we know there's a lot of uphill battle in this. Layout has some issues, and I'm going to do something a little different. I'm going to start with something I'm going to call What I See in the Forums. Maybe I'll come up with a title and I'll have a something, I don't know. We'll see. This is something I've been watching hit the forums, the SketchUp forums. If you're not familiar with the SketchUp forums, you can go to this address right here, forums@sketchup.com. And this is where what should I say? Either you're coming here because you don't understand the software, or you're coming here because you're frustrated with it and you're trying to push on things with Trimble and the SketchUp staff. And so this is a particular thread. Look when this thing started, August 16th. The username I don't know, something like that. We love SketchUp and especially love the component feature where you can copy elements and change them all simultaneously. Is there any way to do this in layout? What an interesting idea. This is in most of the other traditional drafting softwares. I won't mention those. Everybody knows who they are. And in layout, this would mean that you could create a drawing symbol. You could create a product name. Let's say you've got a door in a building, and let's say it's a big building and there are 5,000 of these doors. And the product schedule says it's this door, and then you get 3/4 of the way in the project and they change the product number. Currently in layout, you have to go through every single one of those and manually change them. There is no component element inside of layout where you can just change one and everything changes. So this is August of 2016. That is 7 years ago. Dave R., a very prominent SketchUp sage. If you're ever on the forums, you're going to meet Dave R. He usually answers most of the questions. His simple answer, no, there isn't. I love his simplicity. But look, this thing goes down 2020, 2021, 2022. And this year, and just today, there was another response. I'm not going to read Ivan Jones. It's a long one. But I do want to read this group right here. And actually this one, the D0 Agree, January 1st. Has anything happened with components and layout yet? 7 years later. I see the thread was started in 2016. Laughing out loud. How has something not been done? Laughing out loud. I'm doing wall labels and want to make a basic label that I can update later on every floor. Additionally, I still want layout to have the ability to make no print layers. What a great idea that is. Be able to turn off print. Whew, that would be super fun. Why isn't that a real thing in layout? Any updates? Crickets. And crickets all the time on the forums from, well, I'm not going to say all the time. That would be a generalization. There are staff members from SketchUp who involve themselves where it comes to real buggy stuff going on with the software. I see them all the time. And on occasion, you'll see them involve themselves with certain topics. But very rarely, if ever, do they comment on future plans or developmental snapshots or anything like that. They give you release notes on the new versions, but never snapshots of future versions. So we continue to work and complain. Davey Fletcher Building, a member 8 months later. This is 20 days ago. 20 days. Looking for a solution to this in 2023. I cannot believe that this is still not a function. I can't either, really. I cannot comprehend it. Frustrated at the lack of development for basic documentation tools in this program. Totally agree. Trying hard to push for SketchUp for professional documentation, but here we go again, back to Revit. Oh my gosh, back to Revit. SketchUp and Trimble, do you read this comment? Gotta go back to the competitor. Does that bother anybody? I mean, it bothers me. It bothers me that people can't get the solution after 7 years. Now, granted, I'm going to say it just because I talk to people. Layout, there's a couple other threads like this. Layout is got a bad foundation, which is funny, a funny construction analogy for a software of this kind. got a bad foundation. And layout 2.0 should have been the plan. Maybe it is. Who knows? That's my hope, is somewhere in the back corners of their office building in Wheat Ridge, Colorado, they're working on something called Layout 2.0, but who knows? Sketchup Guru, just yesterday, waiting for components and layout for Sketchup be like. what a great, what a great comment, Sketchup Guru. I love it. Waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting. And Nick Sonder here, Nick Sonder jumping in the game. It would be awesome for this to work through scrapbooks, where simply editing the scrapbook element automatically updates all instances in a given file. What a sweet idea. I'm all about that one. Can we get that one too? I'm gonna put a like on that one. I'm gonna put a like on this one because it makes me laugh. So here we go. How do you all feel about components and layout? That would be amazing. And while we're at it, how about an API for layout and opening up plugins? Uh, Plugins for layout would be astounding. Really would be. Anyway, that's the end of this segment of my show today. And now we're going to go to, I think I'm going to do it this way. I'm going to go to layout today, and I'm going to continue talking about layers, because I enjoy layers and I enjoy playing around with traditional drafting and how to accomplish it inside of layout with layers and viewports. And for those of you who haven't been around the sloped community, we are coining a phrase that we like to call layout ready modeling. And this is the idea of starting your modeling process. In fact, building a template for your modeling workflow that considers your end result, which is the drawings in the first place. Most people use SketchUp with the idea of the 3D model, and then they want to jump into the render, and then they try and shove that mess into layout, and they get frustrated because layout doesn't play nice. And then it's not playing nice with, it's not that it doesn't play nice with SketchUp or that it's slow so much. I mean, it's slow, not going to deny that. However, what is important is that um, there's a method. There's a method inside of SketchUp that you have to follow in order for layout to function correctly. Function professionally. How about that? Function on a high level. Now, for those that have done any traditional drafting, what's wrong with this drawing? This is pretty darn close to really good for traditional drafting. You got hidden lines that actually are very dim and faint, like they're supposed to be. Thick border line all the way around this, and then general line thickness here. I'm using a different style for appliances because I find that many of the appliance models that you get have textures, and I don't want to lose those textures and little names, because they'll put this little thing on here, Fisher Paykel. Not that it shows up in layout very well, but there you go. And then we got a really strong ground line, and this is strong drafting, in my opinion. Some would say maybe not, but I think professors in college would say, hey, it's generally true. And sorry for taking my glasses off. I'm looking through a fog. Pardon me in my live stream. Yeah. Anyway, so how do we accomplish this? What's the process? In a model, Because it's 3D, you've got a parallel projection view of an elevation has a number of lines. So if this is a countertop, there's two lines here, not one. There's two lines here, not one. There's two lines here and not one. And assigning line work, actual lines, a weight value is near impossible, because here's the thing: if we do a side elevation, that back line is a different weight. And perhaps if this stove is sticking out, it's going to have the darker outline, so this line would need to be a lighter line. So it's very difficult to attach line weights to specific lines, like in AutoCAD, which I'll just reference because that's the one everybody is familiar with. Not so Revit. It's just a different animal, in my opinion, because of BIM. Um, similar similar issues assigning line weights, because it's a 3D model. In AutoCAD, it's 2D, and that's, I think, in some ways, this is the general competitor for SketchUp is AutoCAD. Most of the people who have budgetary issues are in AutoCAD LT, just using 2D to get their line drawing. So that's kind of my reference point. In that regard, then we have to play an interesting game, and the way we play the game for layout is we have to have a very strong understanding of tags in SketchUp, groups, components, and styles. And I can put in there scenes because it's part of the equation, but really those four. You have to understand how to group and component all your geometry, how to put it on a proper tag, and then how to make sure that you have the right types of scenes to display the geometry the way you want it to be displayed. So like in this particular case, we've got an oven, right? And the oven is separate from a base cabinet, which is separate from a wall cabinet. And then there's some glass, and then all these little components visually, and then we got hidden shelves, and we've got some door swing indicators here. Then we've got this outside line and an inside line on the countertop. And how do you develop these things to get that traditional look? And it's kind of a combination of using uh, these 4 or 5 principles. And this is a template that I've been working on for a little while for my work, for my studio and my clients in the woodworking and millwork and cabinet making industry. And I've developed a set of layers here. And that's kind of what I want to talk about. I've been on the forums today talking about layers with some other people and looking at what they're into. And so just to briefly talk about layers before I explore a few more ideas. Um, this is a difficult topic because people in the design field of architecture specifically, and the sister design fields that are surrounding architecture, landscape, and interior design, and millwork and cabinets, and perhaps some others. We have this idea that drafting is what you do when you do your presentation. And SketchUp isn't a drafting tool, it's a modeling tool with presentation. And I get into discussions with one of my partners, and he says, well, layout is a glorified, and he's a full layout workflow. He's convinced of it. He's one of the partners in Slope, so he absolutely knows the power. And he says, his comment is, well, layout's just a glorified graphics program. And I recently said, well, what's wrong with that? Why is that a problem for architects? That it's just a presentation tool? Are we so stuck in the architecture community on drafting that we can't try a different tool and think outside the box? Nick Saunders constantly saying, as far as I know him, and that's not very well, only through his books and his videos and the one or two times I've seen him publicly speak, You can't come into layout thinking like you're an AutoCAD user. It's a totally different animal, and that's what this is about. In SketchUp, we have tags and we have styles and we have components and groups, and all those are assembled in a scene. And a scene is just a shot of a room, a shot of a house, and this is an elevation of a single wall in a bathroom. And it's got a stove in it. Yeah, that's true. But anyway, it's a single elevation. Shouldn't have said bathroom because that's not necessarily true. It's just a single elevation with one wall. Inside of here, we have a number of components, some groups, and those are assembled to create a scene. And then that scene can be brought into layout, and we get to view that through what we call a viewport. And viewports, similar to AutoCAD, the viewport in paper space into model space, it's just a window into the model, and it's created with parallel projected views, just the standard front, back, left, right in my particular template. And then those viewports can have different scenes assigned to them, and you can turn on and off tags. And so this is where we get control of the SketchUp model. So you can see right here we have different types of styles, and we have tag control. And this is a full set of tags that my template has for all the different types of, would you call it, organization for my models, so I can arrive at this look. And so everything is placed on a particular tag. Those tags are coming here. And then what I have going on in this is a stack. And this is where stack viewports come in. And if you can see right here, I have chosen 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 layers. And technically speaking, it's 6 if I grab my baseline, which is just a line, and it's on this mask outline. So then, and I've talked to different people about this, and stack viewports is confusing, and it took a little while for me to understand how to really work with these, because and that's why I want to talk about it. I want to present it. I'm going to do this for another 10, 15 minutes, and then I'm going to do some modeling in another project that I'm working on the live stream, so that you guys can watch me take that set of cabinets and move it into a set of drawings and develop it. You can see the whole process, and this is going to kind of be the process every week for me. Probably talk about news at the beginning, do a little bit of layout explanation, answer some questions if those start coming in, and then do some modeling at the end on a project, or the last half hour, do some project work to see, so you can actually see someone who's using it on a professional project and what it looks like to take it from start to printable set. And that's the goal. I'm probably going to rehearse a bunch of these. And again, my specialty is in woodwork, but many of the things that I'm doing here, I copied from Nick Sonder and Mike Brightman's books. Just adaptation, because the basic principles, if you go and look at, let's say, the top 6 books out there, Nick Sonder and Matt Donnelly's book, Matt Donnelly's version 2 of SketchUp for architecture, Mike Brightman's book on SketchUp and layout, Paul Lee has a book out, and I'm forgetting this 5th one that just was in my head that's now no longer in my head. They all have various different things they speak about, but it's basically the same. It's components and groups and tags, styles and scenes, and then how you control all of those things through the SketchUp panel with layers. And if you can grab hold of that concept, you can really start to understand how to arrive at a better workflow for layout. And I tell you, based on all the things I've seen and the people I've talked to, You can make layout sing song. You can really make it sing. It'll do amazing work for you. It doesn't have all the tools yet because Trimble and SketchUp are still afraid to invest money. And they are afraid of mess. And it's an equation I understand as a businessman, as someone who has two startups, and I get the budgets. I understand it, and I would love to hear comments on this if you watch this video. But in my estimation, it's a difficult thing because you're in a position where if you invest money, you could lose money because you don't have adoption of your product. It fails the litmus test of the professional community because it doesn't do this particular thing. But if I showed you, go back to this, I go back to this, this is a 7-year thread with 54. This is a small one. There are other threads in this forum that are as long and have 200 or 300 comments. The professional community has already weighed in, and they want this product to work. SketchUp and Trimble have not yet decided that it's worth the money. At least from the public's point of view, since we don't know what they do behind the scenes. Every year we hope that that's the year that Layout 2.0 is going to come, and they're going to blow our minds, and everybody's going to jump up and down. But if the track record stays the same, then most likely nothing's happening in 2024. We'll see. Anyway, I think the professional community is definitely ready for upgrades, but that's not the point. What I want to do is show you this. So I've got blue dots by all these layers, right? How do I control any one? The easiest way to do is just turn them all off. So we turn all of those off, and now I can't access any of these layers, right? Let's just turn on one. And now I can see inside. I'm going to put this one over here so you can see it. Now we get to see this particular viewport. It's looking at the same scene, the front view. Line scale can control line weight really, really nicely. In fact, you'll see this top line is a wall, which is what is on this, the wall floor thick line. And I don't have any objects open. My groups, sections, and spaces are all picked for this particular room. So let's look at the structural. And here the walls are. So the wall is on, doors, and that's interior doors or exterior windows. In the architecture, we want those on lightweight because they're at the very back of the room, the furthest away. So we do not want them competing with our focal point, which is these cabinets. So we put them way in the back. Now it's a 0.4. So if I change this is scale. So usually that's for, you can use that for dash lines a little better, but I use it for weight. So I'm gonna really crank it up and show you. See what it does to that? Bam. So we take it back to 4. And from my template, this is what I put it at. And then if I want to play around with individual lines, so I can change the doors, I can take those down and put them on 2, which I do. Because I see this line as more important than the windows and the doors. Maybe I'm wrong, but this is the kind of control they give you. The walls are 0.6. And the windows are 0.2 like the doors. So this is one viewport. It's at the lower end, and this is something I learned today from Dave R. I hadn't thought about this. I have had all the title page, all these layers, which I put my title blocks on at the top, and then I'm always having to scroll down in my second monitor because it's not big enough. And so he said, why don't you put those on the bottom, because you don't ever need them really. Once you've set everything, then nothing's over the top of it. You'll always see it. Oh, that's a great idea. Now let's scroll. So now those go at the bottom. And now the top level is up here. This is the thing closest to the camera. if you can think of it that way, closest to you, the viewer, and anything underneath it will cover. So we have to think in terms of visuals. However, this has been my argument. There's a thread going on that Sketchup Guru started, and he was asking, is there a way to organize layers? And he wanted folders, but this is maybe the hack way to do it. If we're talking about the plan doesn't have elevation viewports on top of it, so these are technically in parallel, and same with sections and details. Those aren't even on the same page. So technically, they're not visually stacked on top of each other. They're kind of in parallel to each other. So that's how I can get away with it. This is a layer that never gets used, so it's locked and invisible. And those are just dividers, so visually I kind of can keep track of everything. And then when you get into one particular group, like this is the elevation, so this is at the bottom of the stack visually. It's the furthest back in the stack. And that's what you got to keep in mind. We're looking at layers stacked 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and we're seeing them like this. It's like I don't know if you're familiar with Disney's animation style from the early days, 30s and 40s. They would paint scenery on glass, and instead of having it all on one piece, they would separate trees and hills and the background hills and even further, and they were on these different planes of glass, and then a camera could come in, and it was looking like the trees passing the camera, because it was a fascinating look at this very thing. We accomplish different things on each one of these layers, which is what you want to keep in mind. So let's turn that one off, and now you see what's missing. We'll close that one down. We'll unlock this one, and just for giggles, I'll show you how this works. Let's get rid of the ground line. Bye-bye. Let's get rid of all the swings and the invisible shelves. Get rid of the appliance. Uh-oh, there's still an appliance there. And let's get rid of all the cabinets. And now you see that there's this last one called All Cabinets Profile. This is an interesting little trick, and I stumbled across it. Wasn't something I'd ever learned or seen anybody do. Notice I have a thinner line weight version of the same set of cabinets. And that would include the appliances. How you put this one on top of it. So why do I do this? Because the back one scale, if I grab hold of this, it's at 0.6, and it's on the wall floor thick line. Is interesting. If I turn that one on and turn it off, turn this one invisible, unlock this one, and grab this one. This one's at 0.5, and it's on the cabinet outline style. So it's got a thinner line weight. It's a raster, and I don't even want to start that fight with anybody because I just do what looks good for me. If I grab this one, everything's raster. I think appliances might be raster too. Let me check. Yeah, I like all raster. Just like how it looks to my eyeball. Anyway, oh, I'm seeing comments. How about that? I'm glad my sound sounds good. So, yeah, this is an interesting trick that this shows off the stack issue. So a thicker line behind a thinner line makes the thinner line around the edges appear darker. It's a trick. I haven't made the profile thicker. I've just placed the exact same set of cabinets behind it with a thicker style to accomplish a graphic standard of heavier line weights around the border of a set of objects. It's really It's really amazing. And well, people might complain, well, it's another viewport. Well, yeah, it is. But if you have a template like this, look what I don't ever have to think about this, because this literally, um, once I create a set of drawing, or I create a model for this particular um, setup in my SketchUp template, all I do is save it. I come over here and it's automatically drawn. All the viewports have the tags on and off that are supposed to be, the styles assigned to it, and it looks like this as soon as it updates. So if you do the work up front to get the template set up to look like you want it to look, the work after is established, and you don't ever have to do it again. The only thing you'd have to do is, if you don't like your look, you'd have to go change your template. But then every project after that looks like the new setup that you've decided for. And that's the thing I love about layout. Layout has a feature where you can connect this file to SketchUp by doing, let me turn on one of these. If I open layout first, my SketchUp model is not open, and I right click, get the context menu, and I go to update, I go to open with SketchUp. It will open and create a direct link to the SketchUp model. You do work there, you make some changes, you hit save, you come back here, it auto updates your drawing. You're going to have to probably mess around with your dimensions or notes or anything like that, but basically, this has become the way I confirm my end product. And for me, the model isn't my end product. The drawings are. The model is an aid to my customers. If they want to see inside cabinets, see how things are made, they can have the model. But this is what they use to get their customers' approval for cabinets. So for me, it's better for me, as soon as I start a job, to set up the layout file first, open to the SketchUp template, rename everything, start modeling, save. It auto updates back to this file for me, and I haven't had to do any work. The only thing I have to go back in and do is fix dimensions and then add notes, and I'm done. And that's because we have a very strong understanding of the stacked viewport system. A lot of, maybe there might be some complaints about how many we're using here, but I think this is a stylistic thing. You might, for your particular situation, maybe you don't need this many. For me, because of the way I like drawings to look, this is what I've decided I need. The other thing I wanted to note, and then I'm going to move over to some modeling for the last 20 minutes, is that it is incredibly important on each one of these viewports to only have visible what is needed in the view. I have a system where I turn things off by room. And so if this is one particular room out of a series of 25 different possible rooms, all of those other rooms are off. The only thing that this page is actually trying to render is 5 versions of this particular view. And same with this plan. It's doing 4 or 5 viewports of this particular set of geometry. And that takes the weight off. It's not trying to do a whole room. And if you're an architect and you're trying, or an interior designer, and you're doing these full houses, and you're opening up viewports, and you don't have things properly grouped or componentized, excuse me, and then you don't have it properly tagged so you can turn off stuff in other areas of the house, then you're taking a view of a house that has everything else on in that house, and layout can't handle it because it has to render everything that's visible, even if it's not visible to that view. Therefore, components are great. Components will help you. Tags will help you. Components will help you. I had components on my mind. Tags will help you trim down the amount that layout has to work on for any one page. And that's just so helpful. And this is why we call it layout ready modeling, because you're thinking in terms of what makes layout happy. And it's unfortunate we have to think about that because, unfortunately, the company that has produced this still is, as I said earlier, I won't berate the point, but belabor the point. They still haven't decided to help us out on this area. So it is absolutely important if you're a professional to know this software, know SketchUp. And I think as we've tested people and quizzed people, we found that most people who are working professionally do not fully understand how SketchUp functions in relation to layout. And that's my caveat. There's a lot of really amazing users of SketchUp, but they don't all know how to integrate properly with layout to get a really fabulous result that still maintains speed. And that's the key. So I'm going to move on. Ask any questions, put them in the comments. We'll be more than happy to try and answer. But I'm going to move over to modeling on this other project that I've been playing around with. And I may go silent now or as I'm thinking about these things. That's what I saw last week as I got kind of quiet because my brain is now functioning on design and yeah. And I don't like some of this now. Every week I I delete stuff that I didn't like from last week. So that's what I'm going to do this time. I'm going to get rid of, I just don't like it too much. I'm going to go like that. And then I think, yeah, this is just a goofy idea I have about, oh, please, about a kitchen. Um, I've been doing cabinets and kitchens and bathrooms, and I've been building them and drawing them for, gosh, we're coming up on 30 years. I've seen a few kitchens, but very seldom do I see anybody make a kitchen without wall cabinets. And I had the pleasure of living in a house the last 5 years with a family member, and it had an amazing window in the kitchen, and the sink faced the kitchen, and the oven faced, excuse me, I can't talk. Um, the sink faced the window, and out the window, out that window right there, there was this massive Ohio farmland with a 15-mile view. It was just astounding to sit and look through that. I was like, why don't people design with this? And granted, most kitchens are going suburban neighborhoods, and the view out your window is the siding on your neighbor's house. So I get it. It's maybe I'm a dreamer. So I just decided to dream. What if a kitchen was in a room with all windows and it was built for a family that could sit in and participate? And I was like, that's a really cool idea. You know, kids sitting here and doing work, or friends are over and having tea while somebody's cooking. And it's a chef's kitchen. It's not. It's meant to be something where a really amazing food can be made, and and that would also mean, what do you do with your dishes? Where do you put them? And so I've just been pondering different ways to accomplish this. And this is kind of the result I'm coming up with. And I think I need to open my modeling library, which is right here. And for anybody that's interested in a non-component, or excuse me, non-plug-in based component library for cabinets, this is something I have constructed for my work. It makes things easy. And I am going to grab a cabinet that I do not possess. Wow, I found a cabinet that is not in my system. How about that? I'm gonna have to hack one up. I'm gonna take this one then. No, not that one. I'm gonna have feet on it. Take this one. And we're gonna go back here. Come in here and we're gonna. So if you watch me model, I use keyboard shortcuts as much as possible. I'm not a big fan of moving my mouse all over the place. And I'm going to say it every live stream. This is Kirk Stretch. It's one of the best plugins I use. I use it every time I model. If you don't have it, go check out Kirk and their products. These guys are, I think they're from Vietnam, and they make amazing stuff. Real simple. They don't try and group up a bunch of stuff into one. It's just one tool. It does amazing stuff. Can't speak highly enough about Kirk Stretch. And you're going to get to see me use it here momentarily. I'm going to do 16. I'm going to do a 2-inch bump. Oh, my keyboard number pad is not working no more. Gotta charge it. 7 inches. So we got it selected. I hit the little Kirk Stretch arrow button. It's probably going to freak out because it's the first time I've used it today. And I'll have to start it over again. And once you get it set, you use it one time, then the next time it just figures itself out. So we're going to pick the back set of geometry. I'm going to move it 7 inches. And perfect. And then I'm going to take this. I'm going to move it there. And it would appear. Yes, I am on the ground. Interesting. How far? Got an error or something. 34 3/4. Well, that would be the reason why. Let's hit that. And then I do Control V for paste in place, if you're curious about what I just did. And then this is 1.5 inches, I believe. Oh, it's 1.25 inches. So we need to go, let's use the blue. I've failed to understand what I'm trying to accomplish here. Okay. And that would mean that these all need to move up. There. That's countertop height. All right. Now let's I want to get rid of the door. Oop, not that. Get rid of swing. Not the shelves. Yeah, I do need to get rid of the hidden shelf lines. Yeah. So we need to come down in here. We got to establish an interior. And let's see, 18 is an inch. I think it's an inch. Yes, it is. So 17, 16.5. Because in cabinets, most people are doing half-inch backs now as a standard. And yeah, that's that. And then we're gonna make a adjustable shelf, and we're gonna make that 0.75. Whoop. Gonna make it into a group. And what do we say? Go 10 and then do 2x for two of them. Oh, I always forget that. You don't get to do that. Go 1 there. I'm going to go 1 there. So now they're all 9, I think. Close enough. Okay, now we got open shelves. And then we're going to do this. And actually, what would be smarter is if we do this. 0.75. Gotta get a in panel on that. And then what's that distance? 72 and 3/4. So we gotta go 72. We get Kirk stretch. Watch this. This is the beauty of Kirk stretch, 72. And now Q I have set up as hidden lines so I can see defined edges. And then we're going to create a interior partition, which is that, not the other one. And that's going to be 0.75. And then we're going to hit make a group. And I'm going to get a lot of flack on this one. I know it before I say it. Because I still have trouble remembering how to divide a space with a certain number. So I've got 99 inches. I want to have 4 divisions. How do you equally divide those quickly? I don't know. I can never remember. So if you remember that, instruct this got a brain of mine. And do that in the comments since there's really no one here. Let's go 20. And we'll go 3x. How about that? Okay, so I must have gotten fairly close. 18 and a quarter. 19 and a quarter. 20 and a quarter. Those are 19 and a quarter, 18 and a quarter, and 20. If I move it 3/4 of an inch, then I'll be on 1/4 inch off. Yep. 1/4 inch off. 19 1/4, 19 1/4. Is that correct? Oh, is this one 19 1/4 too? Did I get it right? Nope, 19. Okay. So if I went one more, like 0.185, 125, that's an eighth. Now it's pretty darn close. I think I'm gonna do kind of a retro look there. Instead of having traditional face frames. 4x. All right. Oh, right. Move that there. I might end up going a little bit longer because I want to finish up one little section here. And then, oops. Okay. Then what we're going to do is 0.5 that. And we're going to 0.5 that. And draw this up. Do the same over here. 0.5 that. Those. Now we just need the in panel. Look how nice that's. Ooh, wonder how that thing got there. Did anybody see how I made that? I don't know how I made that. All right. What I may do is I may create a bookshelf in there. You're sitting, you got something to mess around in that cabinet. Be fun. Yeah. Got good divisions there. Some Euro. Base frame. Looks good. I'm gonna kind of build this room inside out. My plan is to have a full roof and a really cool interior, maybe plank ceiling, and get textures in everything. I'm gonna really do it up. Maybe get some of my professional friends to help with render and that kind of thing. Anyway, uh, that's gonna be it for me today. I think I'm gonna update this view. Okay, and then we're gonna hit save. And that's going to be the end of the program. Yeah, I really appreciate you listening, watching, and please subscribe. Also, please hit the notification bell and leave a comment. We'd love to hear from you if you got any questions. Again, we are Sloped. My name's Keith Brooks. I'm one of the co-founders of Slope.io. You can go visit our website. We are in business to help businesses design businesses, excuse me, who use SketchUp and Layout, help them find freelance help to solve some of their employment needs. We test and certify these freelancers to make sure that they are top level pros with SketchUp and Layout workflows and layout ready modeling. We're also functioning right now as consultants. If you're uncertain how to accomplish a layout workflow with SketchUp, been on the fence, you want to talk to some people about it, get some help, we have a program where we can set you up to build a template separate from your current workflow so you don't harm your ability to get your work done right now. And we do the testing, help you do testing and run a sample job through it so you can see that it functions. And until it functions the way you want, it doesn't get released. And once it's done, we can help you onboard, and then you can be off to the races using SketchUp and Layout. And if you need help with SketchUp and Layout, then you can use one of our freelancers as well, and really level up your entire SketchUp workflow game. We're more than happy to talk to you. You just visit our website, SketchUp, or excuse me, Slope.io, and look over our web pages. Send us contact if you've got questions. We'd love to talk to you about it. Till next week, for me, next Tuesday, noon Eastern. My other partner, Joanne Swisterski, who's an interior designer, she'll be live streaming tomorrow night. Excuse me, I'm saying night because I'm in Dubai right now, United Arab Emirates in the Middle East. But it's actually midday. It'll be noon Eastern is our normal streaming time. So please tune in. If you get the notification set up on our channel for YouTube, you'll get alerts that we're going live when we do that. All of our stuff is then put on our YouTube channel, so you can go back and watch our back streams. And if you ever have any questions, please feel to reach out. Please feel free to reach out. Words are still hard. Until then, we hope that you have a great night and stay safe out there. It's a crazy, crazy time in the world, and hope you stay safe. So until next week, talk to you later.